On a muggy and overcast afternoon, fisherman Evo da Silva surveys the water for the spot to cast his fishing net. He has been working these waters of Guanabara Bay all his life, and remembers a time where fish and crabs were plentiful here.
In the mangrove swamps by the bay, we had so much crab. I opened my bag and there they were, everywhere. I just needed to push them in. But now you don't find crab there anymore. We have fewer fish too. There are even some types of fish that don't exist anymore here in the bay.
It was something outside Mr. Da Silva's control that has killed his livelihood. In the year 2000, over 1.3 million liters of oil leaked from an underwater pipeline run by Brazilian oil company Petrobras. It happened underneath Guanabara Bay. At the time, the Brazilian government said it would take a decade for the area to recover. And today, this is what some areas around Guanabara Bay look like. What was once covered with thick green mangrove, housing crabs and fish, now just black mud, no life left in the soil, a scene of dead nothingness.
The accident was one of the most serious and severe in the environmental history of Brazil. The mangrove is one of the most fragile ecosystems in the world. Unfortunately, when industrial accidents, especially petroleum, enters the areas of the mangrove, it is a very slow process for the ecosystem to recuperate.
The effects of this oil spill 10 years later are obvious. But then you think about this. The total amount of oil that was spilled here in Rio de Janeiro was about 8,000 barrels of oil. Even by the most conservative estimates, that's only about 25% of the total oil leaked in the Gulf Coast every day. Petrobras has invested more than $200 million in the last decade to clean up the bay, and has dramatically improved its environmental record in recent years. But the company admits cleaning up after an oil spill is an uphill battle.
Recuperation is always a challenge. It's like a tsunami. It's difficult after a tsunami to pretend that you resisted it. You have to avoid the tsunami. But once the accident occurs, it's a very grave phenomenon. There's no doubt about it.
Knowing what is happening in the Gulf of Mexico, Mr. Da Silva says he worries about the future of the fishermen there.
I don't want to be pessimistic, but it's going to be difficult for the fishermen there. If someone does not help them, it's going to be impossible for them to support their families.
A cautionary tale from a man who has lived it. Gabriel Elizondo, Al Jazeera, Magé, Brazil.